at 7 o'clock.
It's 7 p.m. It's January 20th, 2015. Meeting will come to order. This meeting and all other meetings of the Town of Dayton are open to the public. The press has been notified and the agenda has been posted so that the citizenry may be aware of the time and the place and the agenda of the meeting. I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Are you showing all present? I have a motion to approve or amend the agenda. We have two corrections. It's actually January 20th, 2015. And the next town board meeting under item 11 would be February 16th, 2015. So,
Make a motion to accept or approve the agenda as written with those two corrections.
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We have a meeting of December 15th.
Motion to approve December 15th monthly town board meeting.
Agenda and with the correction that the upcoming meeting is in 2015, not 2014. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Reports of the meetings town board members have attended. Do you have anything?
I've met with our insurance agent and went over the full contract with her, and hopeful that I asked her off the record of what our prediction for next year, 2016, cost for our insurance would be. She said, well, if we'd go a year without any claims, she would see a significant drop. And she wanted to say it'd be close to what it was in 2014, but she's a little reluctant to go that far. So, and then I had several meetings with phone conferences with our web company, web hosting, and got that figured out, and Judy and I were able to sit down and get all the minutes for 2014 uploaded, and they're on the web. And then I was at the one meeting that you were with for the road survey, the night check of the reflectivity of the signs. And then I went out another 2 times, I think, after that with Jeff, and we got a couple more evenings to finish that up.
Okay. All right. You covered the meeting that I attended, so next, treasurer's report.
Couple more weeks of collecting taxes for this year, and at this point, we've done the January settlement checks, so money was transferred from the tax account, and the checks were paid out. They were due to the various entities by the 15th of January. So, at this point, we have a balance remaining in our general account, $59,000. We did receive the general transportation aids, the first payment. So that's what bumped that up quite a bit for the month of January, $40,000, $935, our general transportation aids. And the tax account is just around $997,000. So 2 more weeks of collecting, and then we'll have to do another set of checks to pay out. As you can see, the landfill CD comes due in February.
Did you have a chance to talk to First National about if that interest rate will stay the same for us, or what they've
No,
done?
I did not do that yet.
Would you please for the next meeting, since we have time on that?
Okay.
Thank you. If my calculations are correct, the total bills for this evening shows as $2,961,378.98. But you already paid the January settlement of $2,936,623.92. Is that correct? That leaves us with an actual payment checks for this evening of just under 25,000.
You have 2 reports.
I ran one report that showed the checks that Brenda and I paid out from the date of the December meeting to December 31st. There were a number of bills that had come in that needed to go into the 2014 budget. So I paid those.
Okay.
So that is a separate run, although when I got home tonight, there was also a bill, and it was all gas from Rich's Sitco for 3 months of $2,037. So I did print that check just now,
Okay.
so that would be on that run, and then the second run is for the January bills. So totally you're looking at
60,000. About 60,000. Okay. Do you want to break this into 2 separate approvals?
No, I think we can approve both sets of bills as presented.
With the addition of the Rich's Sitco on the 2014 end of the year. Is that how you put that, Judy?
yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
And
And we should probably transfer, do we have any checks coming in before the next meeting? No state checks, right?
No, you got your transportation agents at 40,000.
So we should transfer $50,000 from the tax account to the general checking account.
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Building inspector, we had two permits for remodelings. I did just get today a report from the zoning office. We had 3 new homes built this year. Some of them are replacements, but there was 3 new homes built this year. Next, we've for the chairman's report, we've had some snow and ice conditions. We try to stay on top of it as much as we can, but there are certain open areas, especially on the western and the southern ends of the township where there aren't many trees, the wind blows, and drifting and icing on the roads is continually a problem. But if anybody has some concerns, please call me and I will send them out. Next item would be public input. Is there anyone that would like to speak today? Has anything? Yes, sir.
And on the, later in the meeting, you're going to cover the cost of doing the bridges.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd like to ask the other members of the board if they understand or if they can tell me why we're not doing the bridge and road that we have a grant for that will expire in 2015.
Well, first of all, it is on the agenda, but I don't think you all have copies of the recommendation from our engineer. The contracts came in from proposals were received from Pfeiffer Brothers in Neenah for $411,000. And then a combination lump sum deduction of $20,000 or a net of $391,000. From Radke Brothers, it was $406,000, but they only gave a deduction of $2,000 for the two. There was a third bid that was considerably higher than those two bids. The engineer is going to recommend that the combination bid for the two bridges be awarded to Pfeiffer Brothers for $391,925.26.
I guess I didn't hear from the other members on why we're not doing the road and the West Road bridge.
Because those have not been bid out yet. They are planning on being bid very shortly, and with what we received back already, we should be able to do those projects and still be under our budget.
Three bridges in the road. Fantastic.
Or what was the total budget for the three?
The two bridges that have been bid are the one bridge on Dayton Road crossing Radley Creek, the one bridge on West Road crossing Emmons Creek. The total of those two bridges was $391,000 or roughly $195,000 a piece. The bridge on West Road crossing Radley Creek, which is part of the second bid package, is slightly smaller than these two bridges. And I would estimate at this time that we may be closer to $180,000, but that remains to be seen. We have not received those bids yet. The engineer's opinion was that with that road project, that a road construction company would be the prime contractor for that project as opposed to a bridge construction company. And road contractors, typically the most opportune time is a little bit later in the bidding season than the bridge contractors. The bridge contractors tend to try to fill their order banks a little bit earlier in the year. Luckily, the second project also involves asphalt. I would expect that asphalt prices are going to be considerably less than they have been for the last 5 years, and I think it'll be to our advantage really to get that bid you know, in the next few months here, so.
So we will not do anything, you will not finalize the two bridges until the other bid comes in?
No.
No, we're going to act on that proposal. That's why it's on the agenda.
And, excuse me, John, the question I have is the grant is for $360,000 for the bridge road?
The, which grant?
I thought there was a grant that we got from the Department of Transportation.
Yeah, that was for roughly $180,000.
Yeah, the net was 180.
Right.
There was a 360 grant for 180, 50-50 split.
Well, it was a $180,000 grant.
Right. The project was to be 360,000,
Yes,
of which would be a 50-50 split.
correct.
So that basically, the Department of Transportation, once the project is done, will give us a check for $180,000.
Once the project is done, the bills are paid, and then we send the bills into the DOT, and then we're reimbursed
For $180,000.
for 50%, up to $180,000.
So the three bridges, we get a total grant of $360,000.
No, the $180,000 grant for from the Wisconsin DOT only covers the West Road project from Putzak Road to State Highway 22, including that bridge. Okay, there are two other bridges that we also bid separately as bridge-only projects, and those are the bids that we opened and
Those are the two ones we just talked about.
Yes.
For $391,000.
correct.
Grant covers half of that.
The bridges have a different funding mechanism, and half of the cost of replacing bridges and culverts is covered by Waupaca County under a separate program. So 50% of the $391,000 would be covered by the Waupaca County Bridge Grant, in addition to the engineering costs that the town has paid already in 2014, which total to date is roughly $90,000 for the three bridges.
So, again, the question, for the two bridges, we're looking at $391,000 for construction, and we're looking at roughly $60,000, which is 2/3 of the consulting engineer's cost. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we're now at $450,000.
Right. What the amounts do not include is construction management. And there the board has not determined the best route to do that. We have asked our engineers to come up with a proposal for construction management and supervision.
What's the estimate, you know?
I don't know. I don't have a firm cost on that yet, but our working estimate was around $20,000.
So 5%.
Yes. Jane?
So on the third bridge, if you're saying that's probably gonna be less than you expected, 191, do we still, and then I imagine there's that other cost to add on to it 250, does the county still pay their half and plus the grant, or do we just get the grant on that?
The county is responsible for 50% of bridge construction.
So that part of that, that's bridge, they'll pay 50%,
Yes,
and then plus we get the grant?
yes.
I have a question on line,
So I have a comment on that. You need to understand that we won't get the full money back in
I
2015.
understand
I've seen grid projects that, in my mind, have been complete for a year and a half, and I will still be getting bills, and then, have to forward, a portion off to wherever it goes, so.
under,
I'm a little confused with that one. So you're saying the West Gravity Bridge, we're going to split that cost with the county?
Yes.
So we're getting the grant for the road work, but we're getting no money on the grant for the bridge. And the county then is going to reimburse us for 50% of the bridge cost?
The county bridge grant program covers 50% of bridge and culvert replacements.
I understand.
Okay. The DOT grant covered 50% of the total cost of that West Road project, meaning both the roads and the bridges. So we're getting credit for both.
Okay.
If we have enough money in the budget to complete it.
can I ask the other part?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. 533113 roadside and ditches, that Visa card member service, 986930,
Yes.
H2.
Yep.
What does that cover?
That's the skidster with the brush cutter attachment that was on it. You may have seen that. We did work in November and December on a number of town roads.
So it was for purchase of it?
No, that was
Rent.
rent.
Rent, oh, okay.
That's it's about $160,000 piece of equipment.
Have you done any cost estimates or cost figuring on what it would have cost to have hired these things done last year? As opposed to having them done, the cost of it?
I haven't lately. I can tell you, before when I was checking prices, it's a whole lot cheaper, like at least half price for us to do it. And when I was chair and I started looking into this, you can ask Chris. Chris was adamantly opposed to buying the pickup truck, the dump truck, and doing saw work, saying, come on, where does it say, why are you doing this? And I had the numbers out there, and it was comparing against private contractor and against county. And after everything was said and done, Chris, it was about half price, right?
Yep.
So, and I haven't done a cost comparison in the last year that I've been in office, no.
So the last time there was a general run-through of the township of cutting back the weeds. Do we know what that costs?
Cutting back weeds or brush?
Weeds and brush. I mean,
It's
basically what you did, only,
weeds are cut back with a much smaller piece of equipment
I understand. And that's done
in the summertime.
in the summertime, once or twice.
Right.
Depending.
We have not done a large scale cutback in 10 years, something like.
I'm gonna say 20 years.
Okay, so it hasn't been done, and the thought process isn't to do this every year. This is I mean, if you look at how they maintain electrical right-of-ways, they don't go out and do spot corrections all the time on these. They go out and clear this mile or miles of right-of-way. We're trying to do the same thing, because that's the most economical way of doing it. And, you know, $10,000 for rental is a lot of money. But when you look at what we got out of that rental, which was right around 120 hours of runtime, and
The miles, do you have the miles of?
I don't have those down. I mean, we can
I
get those.
can tell you that in 2012, we had 3 fairly severe storm events, and a lot of trees were down, and if many of you remember, we filled about half of the parking lot here at the town hall with trees that the residents of the town of Dayton brought in addition to the work that we were doing on the town roads. We spent $25,000 to hire someone with a chipper that year. That seemed to be a rather foolish proposition, and the following year we bought a chipper for $29,000 that will last probably 15 to 20 years. We have tried a number of different methods of cutting back trees and brushes, but the public that I talked to seemed to be happiest with chipping up back into mulch rather than using a larger machine that shreds trees. Basically, is what they do. And the county has a large machine, and we did try that machine on East Road early in the spring. We found that we had to go back and hand cut a lot of it because they could not do larger trees. They could not reach up and get the overhanging branches. So we still spent probably 10 man days or 10 working days following up behind the county. I thought that aesthetically it looked terrible to have shredded trees, all over the ditch side now. Some people may disagree with me, but when we have sent the crew out with the chipper, other than one instance, we've never gotten a complaint about having the trees chipped up.
So the skid steer chips,
No, the skid steer was a,
we got brush cutting, we got chipping, and we got the skid steer. I guess, where does the skid steer fit into the mix?
the skid steer had what they called a forestry head on it, and that ground up smaller trees, brush, and worked fairly economically and fairly quickly as far as man hours and machine hours. We could cover in fairly heavy brush, not necessarily trees, but cover a half a mile of road in a 6-hour working day.
Yeah. where when you're doing that by hand with,
So the chipper, you just have to feed stuff into,
yep.
and this machine. then
This
cuts
machine-
it as you go.
Well, it's not even flailing, it's a drum, and it's got big carbide teeth, and they're just, it'll tear anything, and it doesn't like rocks too well. But
And
fence
unfortunately, we
posts,
have a lot of rocks in the town of Dayton.
fences and anything else that got in its way, it would just chip up, and it wasn't quite shredding like the county, but it chipped not as good as the chipper. I mean, it was a halfway medium. I mean,
Okay.
Was there any other comments? If not, we'll move on.
Do we have a report, a check report that has the annualized numbers on? All we have is, earlier we received by month through October, and we received November, December, we have January, just so we have a 12-month total. Without-
You'd run a general ledger.
Yeah, the general ledger, but that's about a 150-page list of all checks. You're talking, more like what we would call in private business a P&L or profit and loss statement.
No, not, actually, what I'm looking for is a check register that is a total of 12 months.
Yeah,
from the-
I can run that report for 12 months.
Yeah, that would be what I'd look at. And the only other question I have is on this skidder is, why are we paying $9,000 by credit card versus a check? Why wouldn't we issue a check rather
because
than put it on a credit card?
well, our credit card's paid off every month, so we're not paying any,
I didn't mean that.
but
It just,
That was the vendor's request.
that was the vendor's request, that they would rather have a credit card on file and just bill it on the credit card. Versus having them open up a line of credit that they bill us for. They would rather send it in through the credit card. That was we asked them.
We had 1% on the credit card?
I know that they probably paid several $100s in bank fees on it, but that was their choice to do it that way. There's no other questions, we'll move on. And the first item we have touched on, and that's a report on evaluation of bids received for Dayton Radley Creek Bridge and West Emmons Creek Bridge. Beth from AECom is here. She's been working on this project for a year and a half, thereabouts. She was at our bid opening. Again, we received two fairly competitive bids and one that was not so much. And do you want to just go over those briefly, or?
And through the process of the project, when we gave everything to Chris, as we opened everything up to the contractors, we also came up with a construction cost estimate. And with the combination of bids that we received in, it was approximately 5% below what we had estimated as engineers. So we feel that was a very competitive bid that came in. It's not too low where we're worried that they missed something, and it's not outrageously high where it's going to cost the town a lot of money. It's right where we thought it would come in. Pfeiffer Brothers is a well-known contractor and has done bridges that I've designed before, and has also done several bridges in the county and area. And they're a very good bridge contractor, and we know that they will deliver a good product for you. And as for the contracts that you were talking about earlier, with what it's called TRID funding, that's the DOT funding, since the West Road Bridge and the West Road project had the trade funding. It's a different contract for the construction contractor than the other two bridges are. So we as engineers felt that would be a good splitting point to separate those two out, because there would be a lot of extra that the contractor would have to go through in order to get the contracts done correctly, in order to bid all of them together. This way we can get two of the bridges in and bid and get you a good price as we found. And the other one will have to, the contract that we write up to open to bidders is slightly different. That's why that was separated out. And it will be, it's pretty well underway, and we'll be getting everything to Chris and opening things, taking that out for construction, for bidders very shortly, within the next month and a half.
So the TRID funding takes care of just the road and bridge?
The way Chris wrote the grant, it was for West Road from State Highway 22 to Hoosac, including the bridge.
Okay, so that's the TRID.
And then from what I've seen with that, what they'll do, DOT will take the entire construction cost.
Right.
Up to, and so say it comes in actually at $360,000, which is what they're anticipating. The DOT will pay their $180, give the check, and then the town is responsible for the other half. Now, and I could be, if Chris, if I'm saying this wrong, just let me know. And then after that, the town is responsible for the other half. So then what they'll do is they'll take that to the county, and then they and the county will work to figure out what part of that falls under the bridge culvert aid, and what part of that the county will pay for.
What part of the 180?
Correct. Because the road project is still in there, so it may not be a full 50-50 split of what's left. That depends on how the county essentially negotiates with the town.
So that's a separate submission then,
Correct.
than the two others?
Correct.
Beth, you obviously took all the contracts back and read through them all, and they're all up to what you guys said was the appropriate level.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Pfeiffer Brothers have been specializing in bridge construction for, almost 100 years.
Long time.
And I believe, weren't they the contractor for the County Highway Q Bridge at the Indian Crossing Casino?
I believe so. Yep.
So,
And I also, one of the first bridges I designed was it's over in Allegheny County. It's County Highway S over the Wolf River, and it's a pretty long bridge. And they did that one as well, and we've seen pictures, and it looks beautiful. So they do a quality job.
They didn't do the one over Clayton, did they?
I wasn't directly involved in that.
I came in right then, I don't think they did.
There's still an I beam underwater.
Yeah. That was on Bruce Cobing's to-do list, but unfortunately never got done.
Well, that will not happen here because the DOT or not the DOT, sorry, the DNR is involved, and there's very specific special provisions that are written in which that if anything is dropped in the water, they have to take it out, and the DNR will be on site monitoring every so often. And that's the other part is that Chris talked about construction oversight. That is something that is, if this were a DOT project, it is required to have construction oversight, which is basically an engineer on site that can ensure that the bridge contractor is doing everything per the plans and per the special provisions that we wrote to make sure that everything is being done correctly. And the DNR will have, Bobby Jo has already said she will be on site occasionally to check in. I do not know.
The DNR's interest in Emmons Creek and Radley Creek, are both general and specific. They are, these two bridges, they are the property owners on three sides of the bridge. Those are, highly prized trout waters by the DNR, and they have been continuing a land acquisition project to buy land adjacent to these two streams as they become available. So there's been two acquisitions in the town of Dayton in the last 4 years, and I think that continues a pattern that has been going on for almost 25 or 30 years. If you're in the targeted area, they have contacted the landowners and say if they are willing to sell, that the DNR is going to be a willing buyer. So.
I guess I have another question. On this, the
It's TRID.
The grant is for 360. And here we're showing on the West Road, Radley, the bridge itself, the engineering cost is 230. So how do we work the numbers when we get 360? And you've indicated that it's going to cost here $230 for the bridge, and we still have to vote for it to do before we get to the bridge.
You're mixing things. The West Road Bridge is not on our topic of discussion today. We haven't bid that project yet, so we don't know what our final costs are going to be yet. And we have made some general budgeting assumptions, but until we have the numbers from the bid, those numbers could be higher or lower.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are these is it the West Road crossing Edmonds Creek, or is it the West Road crossing Radley Creek?
There's two bridge projects on West Road. One at Emmons Creek, and that's the one that was part of this particular bid package.
Okay.
The second one is about 3 miles south, crossing Radley.
Is the other two that we were talking about?
One crossing Emmons Creek on West Road, on the north end of West Road,
Right.
is one in this bid package. The other one is on Dayton Road in this
Right.
bid package.
Right. That's I guess what I'm getting at. If we look at the estimates on your resolution, you've got an estimate for the bridge on West Road, Emmons Creek, Section 7, Town of Dayton, estimated to be $245,000. Is that, am I misreading that?
No, that's a estimate to the county highway department for their budgeting purposes. We had previously sent an estimate of $90,000 for engineering costs for the three bridges, and $780,000, or roughly $260,000 in construction costs for each of the three bridges. That was the first construction estimate that we sent the highway department. Our costs now are less than what those original estimates that we got from the engineer. The $215,000 was that Beth just talked about was updated from an original, I think it was $245,000, but that was based on their final estimate once they had gotten the design down. Their preliminary estimate was higher, but that was based on a number of unknowns.
Okay,
So now we do know some construction costs. We do know the engineering costs up to this point. We haven't made a decision yet on construction supervision. We're always looking for volunteers if there are capable ones in the township. And those estimates, the engineering costs plus the construction costs, and a smaller contingency amount are included in my proposal to the county. So that the estimate to the county for those two bridges was originally $580,000. And now because we're a little bit further along in the process, we can reduce that in this estimate to the county.
okay, maybe, again, I guess I'm looking at the document that's dated today's date. That has a $245,000. So now the 245, the end of the street is now 215.
The estimate, if you read that, includes engineering costs.
Yes.
Okay, so we've already talked about the engineering costs are roughly $30,000 per bridge.
Right.
We talked about a construction management costs. If we do that through AECom or another engineering company, we're estimating that at 5%, that could be another $10,000. And I added $10,000 in as a contingency because we're not quite there yet. And there still may be something that we have to deal with down the road.
Okay, maybe you gotta break it for me. How much is it gonna cost to do the road? How much is it gonna cost to do the bridge?
We are only dealing with bridges. We are only dealing with bridges. We're dealing with two bridges.
But we have some funding for 360 that includes the bridge.
That, we're not dealing with that yet, because we don't have construction cost estimates for that yet.
So the 360 funding is for.
You know,
the road.
Mr. Biller, we're actually not in the public comment part of the agenda, and, you know, this is getting a little extended. I'd be happy to, meet with you and go over numbers, and, maybe that would be the best way to make you feel comfortable with them. Okay, does the board have any other questions? Otherwise, I would make a motion to approve the bid from Pfeiffer Brothers Construction for the for the total amount of $391,925.26 for the two bridges mentioned, less the discount for awarding both contracts at the same time. Further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The next item is Resolution 150101, which I think was the one that Mr. Miller was looking at. These are based on the best available information that we have at this time. The total amount is approximately $150,000 less than what our previous estimates were for these three bridges for construction costs and engineering. So I spoke with Dean Steingraber. He asked me to update the numbers that we had sent him previously with a new resolution. So
My only question, and he's obviously aware that West Road crossing Radley Creek, that project has not been bidded out yet, so he's aware that that number is going to change.
yes.
Okay, and I'm just wondering, should that be written on there that the first two are confirmed bids and we are awaiting the bid process on the third project? Just so that it's...
If I might suggest a friendly amendment here to current estimate rather than final estimate of total costs, included engineering of $230,000.
There you go.
Okay.
You need a second for that?
I'll make a motion to approve that. Did you make a motion?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 150101.
Second.
With the change of the current estimate of total costs for the West Road Radley Creek. We'll do a roll call vote. Jim Peglow.
Aye.
Glenn Newsom. Chris Klein. Aye. Next item we have is a service contract with Gold Cross Ambulance. It's about a 12-page document, and I thought I had it electronically. I don't, so I will bring that in next month so the board can review it before action. So I would move to defer item C till next month. Motion made and seconded to defer item C. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Planning Commission vacancy, we have a vacancy right now in the Planning Commission, and I would like to nominate Paul Roloff to fill the vacancy. That would be a 2-year term running through April of 2 years and 3 months, through April of 2017.
Go ahead. Did you have any other people that expressed interest?
I had a person that was brought up by Jane Hosh, the person that did contact me. Okay.
I'll go ahead and second that.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, we do have a We do have a conditional use permit request, so we will have a planning commission meeting in February, on February 10th. The next town board meeting would be Monday, February 16th, and that's in the year 2015. That's all I have. Is there anything else?
We have the caucus next week.
Caucus is here on Tuesday at 7 p.m. We will nominate for all elected town offices, so town chairman, 2 town board supervisors, town